One moment, I'll just check it again. It again. Oh, I guess it's fine now. Hello, mic test again. It again. Oh, I guess it's fixed now. Just give me a minute. Yes, I guess we can start now, everyone. Oh, just last one. Yes, I guess we can start now, everyone. Okay, let's start, everyone. So as usual, as our usual webinar, we will be discussing all the 28 pairs from AUD CAD to USD JPY, and we'll check about the markets, the MACD-CSM signal that we got for this week. So as usual, I will start from AUD CAD, and we'll check all the signals that that are available for us this week. And as usual, if you would actually check our signals for this week, you would at least get around 1,000 pips overall for the 28 pairs. Especially the GBP pairs and the CHF pairs are really good this week. If you would check our webinar last week, we are actually a bit negative or break even or negative last week, but this week it was really good. So this is our actually our 8th webinar, and the only negative week that we got was last week, and this week was a really crazy week. It was a really good week for us, especially the ones who watched my webinar last week, the 7th webinar. For all the users who joined the webinar and who took the signal that I gave, especially on GBPCHF and GBPJPY, I know it would give you a little around 300 to 400 pips take profit, and I'll still be discussing it for this week. So as usual, let's start now for AUD CAD. For everyone who just joined our webinar and are still having a problem anyway to understand how to use the MACD-CSM, you can just comment, or you can just unmute yourself and ask me about the signals and how we use the signals here and how's the Fibonacci levels that we are using. So let's start for AUD CAD. For AUD CAD, the general trend is a buy actually since November. But if you would see the D1 time frame for AUD CAD, there's already a sell for last Friday on D1 time frame. So for the past weeks and months, it was buy. The only one we are checking for AUD CAD is buy. And starting tomorrow or in few hours, once the market opened, in few hours, our signal would be already sell for AUD CAD, because as you can see, last Friday there was a sell signal here. So once the market opened, the general trend for AUD CAD would be buy. But this week there's no, last week I mean, there's no trade for AUD CAD, because as we can see, the signal since November is buy, but the H4 time frame gives us a sell signal. So those are two different signals. The other one is buy, the other one is sell. So there is no trade for AUD CAD this week. I know most AUD pairs, we don't have any AUD pairs that much, but only for GBPAUD, because GBP is really good. Later we will discuss more about it. So let's go to AUD-CHF. The general trend for AUD-CHF since November is buy. For H4, it was a buy too. For this was around Tuesday, I guess. Then so what we are only be looking for are buy signals. So let's check it. Actually, on H4, the buy signal came around this time. Let me put a rectangle there. So this is the buy signal for AUD-CHF. As you can see, last Thursday there was a signal, and if we would plot our Fibonacci based on 2 days prior, so this was Thursday, so we will plot the Fibonacci from Tuesday to Thursday. It's 2 days prior the signal. So as we can see, it is above 61.8 Fibonacci, and the 50 Fibonacci is around here. So if you would guys have a buy limit on AUD-CHF, it would be 0.71306. However, it was it didn't hit the pair actually around this point, but if you didn't close the buy limit, it would be hit already, and you would have a positive 20 pips floating for AUD-CHF. But it's fine if you didn't manage to enter this trade. So the next one is AUD-JPY. The general trend for D1 time frame on AUD-JPY was buy since last November too. So on H4 time frame, it was a buy. Then next week it would be sell actually. So there won't be any trades on AUD-JPY soon. So if we would check the buy, it would be around here for AUD-JPY on H4. Then let's go to H1 time frame. On H1 time frame, there was a buy around Thursday. So if we would plot our Fibonacci, it would be like this. This was again Thursday. So we would start on Tuesday, 2 days backwards. So if we would plot our Fibonacci again on AUD-JPY, it would be like this. And if we would have a buy limit again on 50 Fibonacci, it would be around here, 83.189. So at that same day, AUD-JPY is hit, and as of now, we would be positive, would have a floating trades of 5 pips on AUD-JPY. So most of the trades on AUD are just floating trades. So the next one is AUD-NZD. Let's check D1. Let me delete this one first. AUD-NZD. The general trend for AUD-NZD on D1 time frame is buy since February. So we will be only looking for buy trades on AUD-NZD. On H4, it was buy too. This was, I guess, around Wednesday. So these are the buy signals. These candles are all the buy signals for H4 time frame on AUD-NZD. And as we can see, there is no buy signal on H1 time frame. So there won't be any trades for AUD-NZD, since even though D1 and H4, this one, H4 is a buy signal, there is no buy signal inside the H4 time frame on H1. So there won't be any trades for AUD-NZD. Next one is AUD-USD. The general trend, as usual, for AUD-USD is buy since last month. Then let's go to H4 time frame. It was sell for this week. So the signals are not the same. D1 is buy, H4 is sell. So it means there is no trade for AUD-USD. For CADCHF, I know this one. We got a good setup for CADCHF this week. So let's go for D1 time frame. D1 time frame is buy signal since January. So it's a long buy signal for CADCHF for 2 months. CADCHF has a buy signal since 2 weeks ago, around mid-February. So let's check on H1. On H1, this was March 1. So this is a Monday, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, this was one Monday. We got the buy signal last Monday on CADCHF. So we would plot the Fibonacci 2 days backwards again. So this is Monday, then Friday, and Thursday. So 2 days backwards. So this would be our Fibonacci level for CADCHF. Since there's a buy signal, we will plot it like this, and we will check the 50 Fibonacci. So this is the 50 Fibonacci. This one. The price is 0.71976. So actually, if you would see, the 50 Fibonacci is the closing candle for H1 time frame is above 50 Fibonacci. So we won't enter the trade at this point around the closing candle on H1, which is this one, 0.72049. Instead, we would have a buy signal here. And our TP is the 100 Fibonacci. This one, 100 Fibonacci. So let me delete some of the lines. This one. So our buy limit is here, and it was hit the next hour. As we can see, the candle closed here at this point. At this point, the candle closed here, and our buy limit was hit. So our take profit is the 100 Fibonacci, and the profit for CADCHF is around 76 pips. 76 pips. Let me open another notepad for you guys. So CADCHF TP is a plus 76 pips. So at least we would have a 76 pips profit for CADCHF this week. Then on the next coming days, there is no signal anymore for CADCHF because the only signal that we got was on H1. So only 75 pips profit for CADCHF. Next one is CADJPY. So let's do the same strategy that we are using, the D1 time frame. Let's start on D1 time frame. The general trend for CADJPY D1 time frame is a buy since around November. So there is no other signal since November, only buy signal. So it means that what we are only checking is a buy signal for CADJPY. And the last signal that we got for CADJPY on H4 time frame is a buy too. It is around the end of January. So it's more than a month now on H4 time frame that what we are only checking is a buy signals. As we can see, it already moved 370 pips for CADJPY alone. So it means on H1 time frame, we would only be checking for buy signals. And last Monday, which is March 1, there is a buy signal on CADJPY. So as usual, we would plot the Fibonacci 2 days prior again. So this is Thursday, this is Friday, and Monday. The signal was last Monday. And as we would plot our Fibonacci, it would be like this. And let's check the 50 Fibonacci, which is at this price. At this price. And as we can see, it is below 50 Fibonacci. So it means we won't have any buy limit anymore. Since it's below 50 Fibonacci, we would just enter CADJPY the moment the buy signal came out on H1 time frame. And our TP again is on 50 Fibonacci, which is around 90 pips profit for CADJPY. This is 100 Fibonacci. And you entered the trade last Monday. It was TP on the take profit was last Thursday. So we would wait at least 3 days for this trade for us to get 90 pips profit. So let's write on CADJPY. We are plus 90 pips on CADJPY. So 2 trades as of now for last week. Then let's check CHF-JPY. If I know there's no signal on CHF-JPY, but let's check if there are some possible trades soon. So let's check D1 time frame. the signal on CADJPY already changed. Actually, since around December 1, this is the first day of the month of December, it was buy already. But on Thursday, it became sell already. So the general trend for CHF-JPY will be sell now, and it's not a buy anymore. So on H4 time frame, as we can see, it's already a sell here on CHF-JPY. So for the next coming days, we would now be checking only sell signals on CHF-JPY instead of having a buy. Since December, we would only be checking on the sell signals for this week on CHF-JPY once the market opened. So let's skip now the CHF-JPY because there's no trade for this week on CHF-JPY anyway. Let's go to EURCAD, EURAUD. So the D1 time frame, let's check D1 time frame. It was still a sell. It was a really strong sell since November. It already moved around, almost 1,000 pips for EURAUD. So let's check H4 time frame. H4 time frame is a buy since last week, and it's on the opposite signal of D1 time frame. It means we won't be entering any trade for EURAUD as of now because it's still a buy here. One moment, let me change the parameters of the indicator so we would see the lines here. There it goes. So H4 time frame, once this on H4 time frame, once these two lines cross, we would start looking for sell signals on EURAUD. But as of now, let's hold EURAUD since H4 and D1 have different signals. Let's go for EURCAD. The D1 time frame on EURCAD is sell since January, around first week of January or second week of January. It was sell. So this means that we would only be looking for sell signals on EURCAD. So this week around Monday, there's a sell signal on EURCAD. This means that we would only be checking sell signals on EURCAD. So let's check H1. As we can see, there are some H1 sells here. This was Wednesday and this was Thursday. So however, we would plot our Fibonacci as usual, and our Fibonacci would be 2 days prior again. So this is Wednesday. We would plot it until Monday, Thursday, and Wednesday. So as we can see, it is already above 61.8 Fibonacci. So there won't be any trades for EURCAD, even though we have 3 sell signals on 3 time frames. There won't be any entry for EURCAD. It's fine if we manage to miss this trade since last week, since we already got 160 pips only for 2 pairs. So let's check EURCHF. Always expect, guys, that we won't be able to take all the trades on all pairs. There will be always some pairs that we won't be able to take. But I know EURCHF, there's a trade for EURCHF this week. So let's check EURCHF because CHF pairs are really good this week. So the overall trend for EURCHF on D1 time frame is buy. This means that we would only be checking for buy signals. And H4 is buy since 2 weeks ago. It already moved since the past 2 weeks, around 260 pips. It's very rare for CHF pairs to move this much because as usually CHF pairs are just ranging pairs, but it has a really good buy signal since 2 weeks ago. So, one moment. Let's check H1 time frame on EURCHF. So the buy signal on EURCHF was Monday, March 1. And the usual strategy that we do is we will plot the Fibonacci levels. And the 50 Fibonacci is here, around here. Let me zoom it so you would guys see it properly. So the price is around 1.10269, and as we can see, the EURCHF signal, the candle closed below 50 Fibonacci. This means that we would enter EURCHF this moment because it's below 50 Fibonacci, and our TP is the 100 Fibonacci, which is here. So our TP would be at least from this point to here. Our profit is around 85 pips or 84 pips. And you enter the trade last Monday. Tuesday it's floating, Wednesday it's float, and on Wednesday you hit the target profit on Wednesday, which is again around 84 pips. So let's write here 84 pips for EURCHF. We are positive 84 pips. You guys can write it, and we will add everything here later. EURCHF is is 84 pips, so we are positive on 3 pairs right now. So let's check EURGBP. The general trend for let me delete this, everyone, so we would have a clean chart. One moment, let me check our Telegram group. Okay, it's fine. So the general trend for EURGBP, as we can see, is sell signal. It was sell since last January, and we will go now to H4 time frame. It was sell around Wednesday. Let me put a backsteer. We would only be, this means that we would only be checking sell signals on EURGBP. So on H1, as we can see, this was the sell signal for EURGBP. Actually, if you would consider this EURGBP, this sell around this point, the signal would be on H4, so it would be a bit different. And still, if you still wanna enter this trade on H4, you would still plot the Fibonacci like this. So around this point on EURGBP. So if you manage to enter EURGBP sell on 50 Fibonacci, which we would have a sell limit here, you would at least take profit of around 24 pips or 23 pips for EURGBP. Then the next signal for EURGBP was last Friday. So we would plot again the Fibonacci, and it would be like this. It would be from here to here. And as we can see, 50 Fibonacci is around this point. And if you want to enter EURGBP, the sell, we would only have a sell limit at this point, at 0.86321. But as of now, it was not hit. So our only take profit for EURGBP was the trade last Wednesday, which is around 24 pips. EURGBP. Let me write it, EURGBP. One moment. I saw a chat. What's this? There was a trade on EURCAD, the second signal. Oh really? EURCAD. They missed it. From Shane. Let me check EURCAD for you guys again. So there was a sell here on D1. On H4, this was a sell around this point. I thought I missed something here. Let me check it. Actually, this is a sell and this is a sell. But if we would plot the Fibonacci for EURCAD, it would be like this. Actually, I put it wrong again. It would be like this. So there it goes. The 50 Fibonacci is here, above this one at 1.52903. Even though there is a sell signal around this point, you would actually missed it already, because we would only have a sell limit at 50 Fibonacci, and it was not hit around Wednesday already. I hope I answered your question properly, Shane, for EURCAD. How did you enter EURCAD? Because if you would follow our strategy, you won't be able to enter EURCAD, because these are the sell signals for H4 time frame. I don't know how you plot the Fibonacci levels, but if you would check it, it's not it didn't hit our 50 Fibonacci level. On the second signal, I went 2 days back. Which signal are you? You can unmute yourself so we can discuss it more properly.
So if you go slightly to the right,
this one?
Can you hear?
Are you talking about
no,
this
no,
one?
no,
This one?
no, the one to the right. So it was on the 4th of March.
4th of March. This one?
The downward arrow. Yeah, I went 2 days back from that.
Okay.
Signal.
Yeah, I guess I missed this one. I guess this
and then
be above.
it just clicked. It just clicked back into the 50.
I saw the trade now. I'm sorry. I guess I missed this trade. I'm glad you see it at least. This is really good. Actually, this is really good for users like you. At least if I miss those kind of trades for users, you can take the trade. Thank you for sharing it because I missed this trade. At least you got additional 40 pips, right? For EURCHF. This is what
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's good, Shane. Thank you for sharing it because I actually missed this one because usually I can't. There are times that I'm really missing some trades. I'm glad you saw it. So that's what's good about our webinar. At least if I didn't saw those kind of signals, you guys would be able to enter it. So let's check the signal for EURCHF as Shane said. So this one on Thursday there was a sell limit. Actually, this was a sell, but it was above 50 Fibonacci. So we would only have a sell signal here at 1.52422. So instead of entering the trade at this point, this one, we would wait at least for the next 2 hours because on the next 2 hours, first hour, second hour, our sell limit is hit. And our TP would be around 100 Fibonacci, which is this point. So in few hours that time, you would have at least 40 pips take profit for EURCHF. So let's put EURCHF now. Thank you for sharing it again, Shane. EURCHF. No wonder there are some users who have I only got 1,000 pips, but there are some users who almost got 1,100 pips. 1,100 pips for this week. That's really nice. I'm still happy for you guys. At least you're making more pips than me. Because there are really times that I would miss the trade, but I'm glad you managed to see it, everyone. So let's go for where I was again before at EURJPY now, I guess. Let's go for EURJPY. Or am I done at EURJPY? Anyway, let's discuss it again if ever I missed it, or I'll just discuss it again if not. So for EURJPY, the general trend is buy since last day of January. So on H4 time frame, the buy signal came out around Tuesday, I guess. So let's put it inside the rectangle. Then on H1 time frame, there are no buy signals on H1 time frame anymore. But as you can see, this is still possible actually, this one, because even on H4, this was on H4, yes, on EURJPY on H1 time frame, it closed at the very moment on H1 time frame closed. So the signal is almost at the same time. So we would plot our Fibonacci level 2 days prior again. This was Tuesday, so we would move 2 days backwards until this point. So our Fibonacci would be like this from Thursday, then Friday. This was Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. So let me close this one. So our 50 Fibonacci actually would be around this point, around here, 50 Fibonacci. Actually, we didn't hit the EURJPY that same day, but it's fine because the market is almost closing this point anymore already around Tuesday. So our buy limit would be hit the next day, which is here at 128.855. So if it's hit, our take profit is at 100 Fibonacci, which would be on the next day, on Thursday. So we would have at least 66 pips take profit for EURJPY. So let's write it here, EURJPY. EURJPY 66 pips. So that's the only trade that we have for EURJPY. Now let's go for EURNZD. The general trend for EURNZD was sell since October. It already moved. How much pips is this already? It already moved almost it ranges around 1,200 pips already since October. So on H4 time frame, you would check it. The signal on H4 time frame is buy since last week. So this means that H4 and D1 have opposite signals. So we won't be checking or be having any trades for EURNZD. So let's go for EURUSD. I know there's a good setup for EURNZD this week. USD, I mean, this week. So again, the general trend for EURUSD is a sell, which is since last week. I mean, since last month, around midweek of January, it already moved only 150 pips. So on H4 time frame, the general trend, the trend for H4 time frame is sell. So let's check H1. So the only signal that we got on here is around this point. So let's plot the Fibonacci 2 days prior again. So from here, from here up to here, 2 days backwards, 50 Fibonacci. Let me zoom it so you guys would see it properly. So as we can see, the 50 Fibonacci is at this point. As we can see, the price closed above 50 Fibonacci. So even though we have a sell signal here already, we won't be taking the trade immediately. We still need to wait for the price to hit 1.20524. So instead of entering trade here, a moment, around this point, which is the closing signal, the closing candle, it would be here at 50 Fibonacci. It's going to be a sell limit. Anyway, we are not using buy stop orders. We are only using limit orders on our strategy. So, one moment. So our 50 Fibonacci is around this point here. And our TP would be hit before the market closed that time. So it's around 60 pips profit for EURUSD. So let's write it. 60 pips profit for EURUSD. 60 pips profit for EURUSD. So now let's go for GBPAUD. Let me clear my chart again. If you guys have any question again, you can simply ask me here. And for those who are watching us on Facebook, you can just comment on my Facebook Live, and I'll answer your questions. So for GBPAUD, general trend for GBPAUD was actually buy on D1 time frame, which is here since around the last week of January. So it is more than a month now that the GBPAUD is positive, so ranging around 100 to 200 pips. So let's check H4 time frame. The H4 time frame with buy was around this point, of H4 time frame, and around the first few days of GBPAUD, because this was buy until this point and here, but there was a little sell on the H4 time frame. So let's check for any possible signals. The only signal that came out is around Wednesday, because there was no signal since Monday and Tuesday. So as we can see, it is a signal on H1 time frame. It means that we would plot our Fibonacci 2 days prior again. So from this point up to here. So let's check our 50 Fibonacci. It is at this point. And as we can see, the candle closed below 50 Fibonacci, this means that we would already enter the trade once the candle closed on H1 time frame. So from here to 100 up to 100 Fibonacci, up to 100 Fibonacci. Actually, it was hit around this point, the week at H4 at around Friday. So it was hit, RTP was hit, which is around 150 pips profit for GBP AUD. So let's put 150 pips on GBP AUD. GBP AUD, which is 150 pips. I hope you guys manage to enter the trades for GBP pairs, because there are really good signals for GBP AUD. Actually, the Fibonacci level again for everyone is around this point, not here. It's not gonna be here because this is 3 days already, and we are only counting up to 2 days. So it was hit at the week of this candle, which is around this point, around 1.80820. So we are positive. We are positive 150 pips for GBP AUD. So the next one, let's go to GBP Card. So on D1 time frame, the general trend for GBP Card is buy since around second week of January. So let's go on H4 time frame. It was only buy for these few days, but it was already sell for almost the rest of the week for GBP Card. So let's check on H1 time frame. There was no buy signal already for GBP Card around this point. So there won't be any entry for GBP Card. Even though there is a buy here, the signal is already on H4 time frame. And actually the safest trade that all users are doing is entry on H1 time frame. So let's go next on GBPCHF. The general trend for GBPCHF is a buy since midweek of January. It already ranges up to 800 pips in more than a month. So on H4 time frame, it was buy since 3 weeks ago, around the second week of February. So this means that we would only be checking for buy signals on GBPCHF. I know if you guys watched my webinar last Monday, I gave GBPCHF as a signal, and it was around this point when GBPCHF is around Monday when I was doing my webinar, if I remember it correctly. So if you guys watched the webinar last Monday, at least you would be able to take this trade, because actually the trade was started around Friday. This was February 26th. This was Friday, and I conduct my webinar at the opening market, which is around March. And if you guys manage to enter GBPCHF, the best signal for us is the once the market closed, and as we can see, it is below 50 Fibonacci, which is at this point. And our take profit would be, our profit was hit around Thursday. So we would at least be positive 210 pips for GBPCHF. It's really good because we only waited for 4 days and we already managed to make 210 pips profit for GBPCHF. I hope you guys managed to enter this trade. Especially I discussed it on my webinar last week, and I guess I even shared it on our Telegram group. So it's 210 pips for GBPCHF. For all who are scalping or targeting less more pips, I hope you manage to hold your trades that long. And if you are patient enough, there are really trades that we would be taking like this, like 210 pips on one pair alone. And I always recommend that we hold our trades longer and we just don't target small pips, but rather hundreds of pips at least on one trade. So it's part of our strategy to wait for those kind of setup. So the next one is on D1 time frame. The general trend on D1 time frame for GBPJPY is buy since November. It already moved more than 1,000 pips on GBPJPY. So let's go on H4 time frame. The only signals for GBPJPY H4 is around this point. There it goes, and it was actually buy on the first few days of last week. So let's check H1 time frame, because I know I still gave this setup to on GBPJPY. So one moment, let's check it around here. So let's plot the GBPJPY. It would be like this from this point. So actually, if you listen again to my webinar, I gave GBPJPY as my signal last week. So as we can see, we would plot the GBPJPY like this. The 50 Fibonacci is around this point. So even the signal came around Friday. Actually, the ideal price is when we enter the Friday before the market closed that time. But as I remember, we are still conducting our webinar around Monday. So 50 Fibonacci, it's still possible to capture the trade and take the trend last Monday, even though the signal was Friday. So if ever, guys, you manage to be late from entering the trades, which is below 50 Fibonacci, it's still fine to capture this trade at 50 Fibonacci, because as you can see, around Monday, the price is still below 50 Fibonacci. And as we are always talking, I'm always telling you, for the past webinars, GBP pairs are really strong pairs until now. It's still a good for buy signals for GBP pairs, and as usual, as we can see, actually there was a sell signal on H4 already, and we usually exit our trades on H4. But this kind of setups, you can just leave the exits on H4 time frame, because as the one strategy that you will see is the price is still above 0 Fibonacci, and it's still valid to hold our trades for GBPJPY. So even I'm telling you to exit on H4 time frame, you can still hold your trades, since GBP are really strong and it's still above 0 Fibonacci. So sometimes we guys can hold our trades. Even H4 signals give us a reversals. So let's continue. So the TP for GBPJPY that we hold last Friday is here, and our take profit is around 100 Fibonacci, which is around 170 pips. Take profit for GBPJPY. Another one, everyone, if you missed this trade, as we can see, around Tuesday there was a trade again. So if you missed this trade, you can still enter and have a buy limit at this point, and it was hit when the market closed around Wednesday. So when the market opened around Wednesday, you can re-enter the trade here at 50 Fibonacci. So you would have at least 150 pips profit when you enter the trade around Tuesday. So, however, if we take it around Friday, our total take profit is around 175 pips. So let's try it on GBPJPY. 175 pips. Then let's go to the next pair on GBPNZD. The general trend for GBPNZD was buy since midweek of January. On H4, it was buy since the market opened this week. So on H1 time frame, let's check the signals. It came out around Wednesday. So we would plot our Fibonacci from Monday to Wednesday. So it's gonna be like this. Our 50 Fibonacci is at this point here. And as we can see, it was a really good setup for GBPNZD, because it was even below 38.2 Fibonacci that we also consider to enter 38.2 Fibonacci. And it's because it's below 50 and 38.2 Fibonacci, it means it's a really good setup for us. So we would enter our trade last Wednesday, and our take profit is on Thursday, which is around 150 pips take profit for GBP NZD. So let's write 150 pips on GBP NZD. These are, if you guys are watching our webinar for since day one, there are really times that we don't have a negative trades. Even though last week we are a bit negative and break even to negative last week, it was only on our 7th webinar that we are negative. But since the first webinar until now, on our 8th webinar, there are really times, if you are really watching our webinars, there are really a lot of times that we would at least be negative on only one pair or only, and just like this, we are almost positive on all our trades. This could really happen, but I'm not telling it's always like this every week. But sometimes there are really bad weeks. That's how we handle our trades on bad weeks, and we always stick to our strategy. Because imagine if you're changing your strategy, your risk reward ratio are changing too, and that's how we are not getting stable trades for our trades. That's why there are really times there are tough weeks, but it's very seldom. As we can see, for our 8 webinars, there's only one bad week for us, which is last week. But as of now, as you can see, we are targeting hundreds of pips on only one pair, and it's really part of the trading. So now let's go to GBP USD. The general trend for GBP USD is buy. On H4 time frame, it was sell since last week. So this means there is no trade for GBP USD. We still need to wait for this pair to give us a more clear signals. So let's go to NZD-CAD. The general trend for NZD-CAD is a buy, but as we can see, this is the D1 time frame on NZD-CAD. There's a sell already. So this means this coming week, or once the market open in few hours, we are only be checking sell signals on NZD-CAD, but we still need to wait for NZD-CAD to change to a buy and a sell signal on H1 time frame. So this week is almost all sell on NZD-CAD, so there is no trade for NZD-CAD. But as we can see, we can expect more trades on NZD-CAD soon, once the H4 time frame would cross, and it would be sell again on NZD-CAD H1 time frame. We could check NZD-CAD soon. So the next one is NZDCHF, the D1 time frame. The general trend for NZDCHF since October is buy around opening of November, which it already ranges around 600 pips. So on H4 time frame, it means we are only checking for buy signals, and as we can see, the most buy signal only came out around this time, around here, NZDCHF. So let's check H4 time frame. As we can see, there are some buy signals around this point. So this means that we would plot our 50 Fibonacci around here up to here. So actually the 50 Fibonacci is around this point. Since the signal is around here, let's check the H4 time frame. So because the entry on NZDCHF is on H4 time frame, not on H1. So if ever you guys enter the trade on NZDCHF around here, the closing candle of H4 time frame, you would be at least RTP is not hit on NZDCHF until now, but you would at least have a floating pips of 19 pips, or if ever, as usual, because you can see the price here reach 83 pips, you would at least save 50 pips here, which is around 30 pips. But if ever not, you would have a floating profit of 18 pips for NZDCHF. So the next one is let's go to NZD. Oh yeah, let's write around at least 30 pips for NZDCHF.
So that the last one that you just talked about, you have lots of sell and buy signals coming
In
in,
H4
which
time
will be
frame?
yeah.
Yeah. It's fine if there are really some signals like this because we can't actually read the market. If it would be sell soon, it would be buy soon on H4 time frame. There are really times that this would happen, and it's fine as long as we follow our strategy because we
Okay.
are following the general trend anyway. This means that the general trend for NZDCHF is buy. That's how important D1 is. So we want change sell soon because H4 change. We will trade buy soon because the H4 change like this. Because as we can see, only this week for NZDCHF, it was sell buy and sell buy. There are like four signals on NZDCHF. But if we follow the D1 time frame, as we can see, it was only buy for months. So this means that we would only we will disregard the sell signals. We are only checking for buy signals on NZDCHF. Did I answer your question properly?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So I guess I know this is the last trades for this week. The NZDCHF is, if I remember it correctly. But let's still continue for the last five pairs. So NZDJPY is buy since last November. Then on H4, as usual, again, it was changing. There are five signals actually on H4 time frame. But it's fine for us. We can manage this kind of trades because this means that we are only following the buy signals for NZDJPY. So up to here, this candle. So these are only the candles that we will be checking for H4 time frame. This sell signal here actually is counted because we are not so sure if this would be a sell signal, and the sell signal, this arrow would only show once the candle closed, so it's still considered a buy. So actually there are buy here on, and it was still buy here. So if ever the entry would be around H4 time frame. But if you would still follow our strategy, actually, we would plot our Fibonacci like this. So it's gonna be like this here. Actually, this is a bit complicated since the signal keeps on changing. So the buy signal is around this point, and the 50 Fibonacci is actually here. I won't consider this anymore, but if you manage to enter this trade, you would still be positive actually because this is a bit complicated. Let's zoom it so you guys would see it properly. Even though this is a buy already, we only put a rectangle on H4 time frames, right? So this is not a considered trade and already on NZDJPY H1 because it's still a sell, or it was still a buy. Right? It was no, it was still a sell on NZDJPY H4 time frame. So if ever our signals will only be around this point because H1 is positive and this point H4 is already positive. So the Fibonacci would be the buy signal would be around Thursday, but the Fibonacci would be on Tuesday, 2 days prior, so Tuesday and Wednesday. So if you would plot our Fibonacci, it would be like this. Let me clear this one so it would be a bit clear.
Okay, but you have gone into sell right there. That means you are going against the market.
No, we are still with the market because the general trend is buy again on D1 time frame. That's how important D1 time frame is. And there are some
Okay.
buy signals here on H4 time frame.
Uh-huh.
This is a bit actually complicated, but if you guys saw it, it's still possible for us to enter. But however, uh, I'll discuss this a bit more more detailed so you guys would understand. One moment. This is the because this is the candle where the signal came out, right? On H4 time frame for the ones that inside the rectangle, the yellow rectangle. So there is a buy here already. So if ever you would have a buy limit at this point, at this point. But actually, as we can see there, this is the buy. It already hit the 100 Fibonacci. So once it hit the 100 Fibonacci, you can already close the buy limit that we have, because it's already a hit on our resistance, and actually we need to close our buy limit already for this point, because it hit the resistance level. It's like it already bounced or hit our resistance level, so it might affect our take profits, and it's already a take profit already, and it's already a miss trade once the price hit the resistance level. So actually, even it already bounced at the next hour, we should already close the trade because it hit the resistance level at this point.
Sure, sure, sure.
I hope you managed to understand that point, everyone. Once the price again hit the resistance or support level or the 100 Fibonacci, we should already close the trade. But sometimes you can still hold your trades as long as the price didn't hit the resistance level or the support level. That's why there are buy limits and sell limits that we are holding up to the next day as long as it didn't hit the levels. So let's go next now on NZD-USD. The general trend on NZD-USD is buy here. On H4, it was sell. So this means those are two opposite signals, so there is no trade for NZD-USD. On USD CAD, the general trend on D1 is sell. On H4, it was buy. So two opposite signals again on H4 and D1, so there is no trade for USD CAD. On USD-CHF, it was a buy since February. Oh, no, that was H4, and it was a buy too on D1. So both buys on H4 and D1. So let's check each one time frame for this week. So the only signal that we got was March 3, which is around Wednesday. So we would plot our Fibonacci again. Since this is Wednesday, we would start on Monday. So our 50 Fibonacci actually is, one moment. Our 50 Fibonacci is here, around this point. So this is actually a missed trade. So it's fine if we miss this kind of trades. As I'm always saying, we can take all the trades on all pairs. There would be a couple of pairs that we would miss. So even the signal is here, we won't enter this trade anymore. Even though it moved, actually if you would be greedy, you would see that the pair moved around 160 pips on USD-CHF. But don't feel bad about it, because as we check some of our pairs, we already managed to take pips already, and we can't take all the trades on the market. Expect to miss some couple of trades every week, and it's part of trading. Just don't be so much greedy, because we always need to follow our strategy, because we are not gambling, we are trading, and just follow our strategy. On the one time frame, the signal is buy since last week, since last month, last January. On H4 time frame, it was a buy too. So let's check H1. Let me close this one. The buy signal is around this point, Wednesday. So we would plot our Fibonacci from here to here. No, from 2 days prior, this one. Let me zoom it, everyone. So the 50 Fibonacci is at this point, and the buy signal is here. This means it's a missed trade. It's still a missed trade, even though the market moved on a buy for, one moment, from here to here, so around 160 pips too. So it's fine. Just it's fine to miss this kind of trades. Don't feel bad about it. It's part of the strategy. So let's have a calculator. Let's check all the, one moment. So let's check the calculator, and these are the trades that we have. So overall, it's plus 76. 76 plus 90 plus 40. This is only 40. I know it's not 400. Plus 84 plus 24 plus 66 plus 60 plus 150, 210, 175, 150, and 30. Oh, so it's 1,150 pips for this 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 moment. Let's change it to pips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pairs for this week. Just yeah, we always have those kind of pairs. So only 12 pairs and around 1,100 pips for 12 pairs. Because as we can see, guys, there are times that we should always target more than 100 pips, like 150, 210, 175. And this kind of trades, we should really hold our trades. It's part of the trading. Just be patient on holding those kind of trades. So that's it. That's for the 28 pairs that we discussed for this week that we manage. As of now, I didn't saw any possible signal. So we will just wait for the market movement if there would be the trades that we would be taking for this week. So let's discuss the general trend as usual. USD actually is really strong now for this week, so we would expect more buys on USD pairs and CAD pairs. GBP is a bit getting a bit weak, but the D1 time frame is still really strong for GBP pairs. So this might just be some retracement, but we can still expect more buys on GBP pairs. And the really weak ones right now are CHF and NZD for this week. That's why we have a lot of trades for CHF for this week. So we can still wait for this kind of pairs for this week, because as we can see, JPY still the general trend for JPY is still sell. So this means we can expect more sells for JPY and CHF pairs. And GBP is the really strong right now. Even though CAD is strong and AUD strong, GBP pairs are far stronger than those pairs. So that's it for this week, everyone. Do you guys have more questions or something to share? I know there are some users who are asking me. Do you guys have more questions for our webinar?
Okay, I have two questions. The first one is the chart that we have down, the MACD-CSM chart.
Which chart? This one? Or
right there. Yes, here? The one down. Okay. Yes. So when we started the webinar, we had multiple currencies
there. Let me show it.
Where do you change that?
I'm only actually using this one. It's the MACD-CSM line. It's like this one. So this means that you would have a thought, or you would have an idea where the market is moving. As we can see, this is the red line, right? This means it's the USD pair. It means that all the USD pairs are really strong. Even though last week, because if I check it on H4 time frame, this week means this was last week. Last week it was weak, and now it became strong. So this means if I would be negative or still positive on that trade, I would have an idea if I will hold the trade or have to close it. Because as we can see, the trend here on USD is weak to strong. This means this is a really strong signal. On GBP, even though, as we can see, it was strong here, this means this kind of signal, it was a retracement, and it's still going up. So this means that it's a positive. This is just the...
Let me see how you change that. How did you change it? You went to edit?
Actually, I'm only doing this one if I forgot how the trend of a certain pair last week. But this is the trend that I'm actually checking. So for example, on D1 time frame, this means GBP, the blue one, the blue line, is really strong. If you remember last week, I'm checking the GBP pairs if I will hold the trade or will close it. But since I see that GBP is really strong, I know, and there's a JPY too. And JPY, the general trend for JPY is really weak. It's a clue for me to hold my trades even it got negative, because the general trend on D1 is a buy and the general trend for JPY is really weak. So it means for me to hold, I can still hold my trade. It's still valid for me to hold my trade.
Okay.
It's just only the trend, because sometimes, for example, let's check CAD. As we can see, CAD is like moving up and down here, and there was few days here, like around the first week or second week of February, it's a bit neutral. So this means CAD pairs is I'm still undecided on CAD if I will hold the trade or I will buy or I will sell here. But since CAD is neutral, there's no clear signal for me on CAD. So this means CAD pairs is pairs that I still need to hold, because there's no trend for CAD yet. But for beginners, you can just simply use this one. I'm only showing those kind of signals so you would guys understand the general trend
Okay.
for pairs, for currencies.
Okay. So for this week, what are the pairs we should be looking out for?
So this one, NZD, CHF, only the two highest and the two lowest. So USD and CAD,
Okay.
and NZD and CHF for H4 time frame. But sometimes I would check the D1 time frame too. So GBP is still really strong. So this means it's still valid for me to hold it. On JPY, as we can see, the value of JPY is really so far on EUR. This is only negative, almost negative 20. This is 75, almost triple. And this is quadruple the value. This means JPY and CHF is really weak. So H4 is CHF, right? And this on D1 it's CHF too. So CHF means is really weak.
Okay.
I'm just basing it if it's getting positive soon, or I should hold or close the trade already, or if it's still the trend is still with me. It means I can still hold my trades and wait for the TPs to be hit, something like that.
Okay, so we're not going by the arrows waiting for the alert on 1 hour candle, 1 hour time frame.
We always check actually at first the D1 and H4. Once D1 and H4 have the same signals, then this means that our entry would be on H1.
Okay, so for this week, we should be looking for those currencies that will change, their D1 will change.
So if you guys wanna check for what kind of pairs you wanna wait, you would only look for H4 and D1 time frame. So for example, H4 and D1 here on AUDCHF are both buys. This means on H1 time frame, let's wait for a buy. So this means once this a line cross, there would be a buy on AUDCHF. So let's wait for this one. But if I saw that D1 and H4 have different signals and H1 is still a buy, it means there would be plenty of time for me to wait for AUD CAD. Because as we can see, D1 is oh no, but here actually D1 is sell now, right? As you can see, D1 is sell here, even though it's still a buy. But once the market opened, it would be a sell already. So this means on AUD CAD, I would wait for the general trend for AUD CAD soon is a sell.
Okay, so why do we have to AUD card is showing sell? So why is it not updated on this chart?
Because the market didn't open yet. Once the market opened, it will be updated.
Okay.
We need to wait for the market to open. Because as we can see, even though it's closing already, the next candle is not out yet. So it's not updated yet. Once the candle or the market opened, it will be updated soon.
So this will be a good place to draw our Fibonacci.
But for AUD CAD, actually, even though it's a sell already, we should still need for it to give us a buy signal, then another sell signal for us to enter AUD CAD. So for now, we would wait for buy and the sell signal on AUD CAD. And as you can see, if you would check it already, it's already below the around 100 Fibonacci. See, it's very close to 100 Fibonacci already on AUD CAD. That's why the logic here is we will wait for it to buy, for it to go up again.
That's
a
right.
little bit. Then once it have a retracement, we could enter a sell on AUD CAD.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Any more questions, everyone? No more questions? Anyway, if you guys don't have any more question, this is a recorded webinar. You can watch it on my Facebook, and I'll be posting this on my YouTube channel. I guess that's it for this week. See you next week again for our next webinar, everyone. And I hope you are all positive this week. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.